I went to Wimbledon for the first time this year and I thought, in case you've not been, I'd share how it was. Growing up, my gran was a huge part of my life. My whole family adored my gran. But for 2 weeks a year, she would disappear, completely hibernate, because she was watching Wimbledon. She loved any tennis and would have it on all the time when we were at her house, but Wimbledon was the one. You couldn't interrupt it, she'd kick you out if you were being too noisy. So it's always been really sentimental. So this year, when my sister texted me asking if I wanted to go to Wimbledon, I thought, why not? And spoiler, we got to go and watch Centre Court. I took the train to go stay with my sister the night before because she's much closer to London. We tried our best to get an early night because we had to get up at 3:30 in the morning to catch a train at 4:30. We got a direct train to Wimbledon, which was about an hour and a half. Unsurprisingly, there was nobody else on the train, and we had planned to half nap, but we were too excited. We chatted the whole way, and once we got to Wimbledon, we caught an Uber to the start of the queue. I had never heard of the Wimbledon queue, but it's a humongous part of Wimbledon culture. I just had no idea. Every year, Wimbledon allow entry into the courts for either free or at a very affordable cost if you join the queue. We turned up to the queue and we were so excited. You go through the big gate and there was actually a really nice atmosphere. Then there's a group of stewards holding the flag for the end of the queue. So you head there and they give you your queue ticket. And the queue ticket just gives you the number position that you are in the queue so that you can leave and come back if you need to, which people do. You're only allowed to leave for up to half an hour anyway. And because it was a quieter day, we turned up at 6:15 in the morning, which on other days, you'd be in position 2,500, 3,000, 4,000, I don't know, even more. But it was a much quieter day. And we got to be in position 678 and 679, which is amazing. And then before we knew it, the queue started to move about 8:30.
We're at Wimbledon! We're going in. Well, we're not going in yet. It doesn't open until 10.
Yeah, but I don't even know where we're going.
It's only 8:30. It looks like it's 11.
If you join the queue and you just go in the grounds, which gives you access to all the courts except from Centre Court, Court 1 and usually Court 2, then you just pay £25 or £30. It depends what day you go. We paid £25, got access to all the courts with the chance to get access to Centre Court and Court 1 through ticket resale. And you walk for quite a way until you come to the queue village. The thing is, because we were on the final Thursday, there's no free tickets on offer. On every other day before that, the first 1,500 people get free tickets to either Centre Court, Court 1 or Court 2. But because we knew that, we had thought we're just going to go straight to ticket resale and hopefully we can get into a good position to get the tickets when they go on resale. So we went straight to ticket resale and we'd found out before we went that we should apply for 2 different courts. So my sister did Centre Court and I did Court 1. And I put in Court 1, pressed go, and I was in position 45. I was like, no way, because I'd seen so many reels before saying that they were in position like 600, 1,500, 2,000. You can be miles down the resale list. But amazingly, we were in position 45 for Court 1, so we were really excited. And then my sister got position 560 or something like that for Centre Court, and we'd thought, oh man, that's not going to work out, but we might as well keep the spot just in case. We were let through, and then there we were in Wimbledon. You have to go through a little bit of security, but it was easy. And then there was Centre Court right in front of us. What immediately hit us was how familiar everything felt, even though we'd never been. Because we'd watched it so many times on television, it all just felt like exactly what we'd seen. We'd had a look at the schedule before we went, and we knew that we were going to head straight to one of the smaller courts. We were just going to randomly pick one and watch whatever was going on there to begin with, just to get ourselves settled in and see some tennis. On this day, most of the tennis going on was wheelchair tennis or the youth tennis, the like under 18s. So the court that we ended up on was a wheelchair tennis match. So we ended up on court 14, where the men's wheelchair quarterfinals were playing between Fernandez and Reed. It was right near a food court, so whilst we were waiting for the game to begin, I went and got a kebab and some strawberries. We watched the first couple of rounds. I don't even know what they're called. That just shows how much I don't really watch tennis, even though it means a lot to me. But it was a crazy hot day. At one point, I think it got to like 37 degrees. And although we were prepared with a UV umbrella, lots of water and sun cream, we just got too hot sat in that court. And we decided to move to Henman Hill. We wanted to see what the atmosphere was like there anyway. We didn't stay at Henman Hill very long because it was even hotter. There was a really nice atmosphere with everyone sat out on their picnic blankets watching the big screens. But it was just too warm. So we decided to head off and see what else we could find. And the whole time Brad was texting me and he was checking in like what matches were going on and saying, what about this one? You could go and try it here, which was really nice of him. We decided to walk all the way from Henman Hill down towards Court 2, which is through most of the grounds. And then when we were down there, Brad texted me saying, I think you can go in Court 2. Because every other day you can't get in there without paying. So we were really sure we wouldn't be able to go in. So we decided to just try. And at first we went into the wrong court, which was Court 12. And then we realised we were in the wrong place. So we went to Court 2 and he was right. We could just go in, which is another reason I think it was such a great day to go, because we just got to walk straight into Court 2 and there was a doubles match going on. And it was so fun to watch. Me and my sister were just like, this tennis is kind of crazy, because the players were interacting with the crowd and even the umpire was joining in with the jokes. Anyway, we found out later that we were watching invitational tennis, which is where they invite the older tennis players that have retired back to come play, and they all just have a good time and goof around. It was probably one of my favourite parts of the day because it was just such a laugh. It was really chilled, really fun, and I left to go get some strawberries. We were having a great time. At this point, it was approaching 3 o'clock, which is when the ticket resale happens. The ticket resale at Wimbledon is really cool because basically you can go to Wimbledon and pay a lot of money to be there. But if you decide to leave early, then your seats become available on the ticket resale. And that's what we'd signed up to in the morning. So at 3 o'clock, if there are any seats available, they start releasing them every 10 minutes and you get an alert to your phone to say that you have tickets available and you have to get there within a certain amount of time. So we were at Court 2 watching the invitational tennis. We were loving it, but we'd said if we get the text that we've got resale tickets available, we'll just leave, whatever's going on. And then I got the text for Court 1 that we had tickets. And I don't know what was going on with the app, but we just got into such a muddle and suddenly we were on our way there and we had like 5 minutes to get there and we needed to run. It turned out that wasn't really the case at all, but that's what the app was telling us. And we were so chuffed when we got there. And they gave us Court 1 tickets for £10 each. They also give the money from the resale tickets to charity. So we got our tickets to Court 1 and we headed to our seats. And I had no idea what we were going into, but it turned out to be this humongous stadium. We walk in and the stadium is absolutely full. The match going on is the men's doubles semi-final. And it had been going on for hours. It was a really close and really tense match. So everybody was on the edge of their seats. It was electric, the feeling in there. It was so close. I think it came down to like the final point. It kept going back and forth. Amazing match. Really enjoyed watching the end of it. So we knew that the next match in Court 1 was going to be another men's doubles semi-final with one pair of them who were both from Great Britain. So we're pretty excited to watch that one. But the previous semi-final had been so close and so intense, and this was basically the opposite. The British team just completely won and easily got through. And it turns out that they went on to win. So we watched their semi-final, which was really fun. By this time we were really hungry because it was dinner time and we thought, right, we're going to head out. We could still go back into Court 1 if we wanted to, but we'd been watching the centre court position go down and it was going down fast. We were really excited because we realised that our chances of getting centre court tickets were actually really high. And that night on centre court was going to be a final, which I could never have imagined I'd get to see a Wimbledon final. It was the mixed doubles final, which isn't super popular, but honestly, I did not care one bit. I was just excited to be there, let alone see a final. And so we headed out to go get some food, and on the way to getting food, we had the alert that we were at the front of the queue, and we just ran, got our resale tickets, and then went back and got food before we headed to Centre Court.
We got tickets for Centre Court! We can't believe it. We are so excited. We are going to Centre Court.
I sent photos of our Centre Court tickets to Brad, and he was like, Grace, you have got some of the best tickets in the entire court. And then when we headed in, unfortunately we'd ended up in the one slice of the court that was still in the beating down sunshine. But honestly, we just didn't care. We were so excited to be on Centre Court. And when we got to our seats, I sat down and then took in what was going on. I looked down to the floor, and right next to me on the floor, it said, players, guests. And then I realised that we were sat next to the guests of the players on the court, which is clearly the best seats in the place. That's why they're sat there. We were sat directly next to them. So yeah, then we got to watch the final of the mixed doubles at Wimbledon 2025. And I sat there with a massive grin on my face the whole time, taking it all in. I loved it. One of the guys was from Great Britain, so we were really rooting for him to win, even though we were sat next to the guests of the other team. And it was a pretty well fought battle, but it only went through 2 sets, and the other team did win, which were the guests we were sat next to, and they leapt out their chairs and they were so excited. And then we decided to stay for the trophy presentation, which is when I realised we were going to end up on the big screens and on the television, because we were in with all the winning teams, friends and family. Not only that, it turned out we were actually sat directly behind the dad of the guy on the winning team, and it was the dad's birthday, so he was on all the cameras. Very cool, amazing experience. Honestly, it felt like we just got luckier and luckier, and everything worked out as best as it possibly could have. The highlight for me is that we got to go on Centre Court, because I've seen that so many times. It's so iconic, and I got to be there and see a Wimbledon final.
We just watched the Wimbledon mixed doubles final on Centre Court.
It was so fun to spend the day with my sister, and we were too hot. We sweated more than we've ever sweat before, but in the end, I guess it was worth it, and we'll never forget it. It was a really fun experience. I'd definitely go back again, and I recommend it to you too. Turns out, I really like watching live sport. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me and seeing what it was like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.